If you're dreaming about starting a business, mentoring others, or shifting industries, and you keep pushing it away as unrealistic, that whisper won't stop. It's your intuition reminding you you're capable of so much more. Now, the key is if staying feels like you're shrinking, it may be time to start planning your exit. Welcome to The Change Effect, the podcast that helps you turn life transitions into powerful new beginnings. One story, one shift, one breakthrough at a time. I'm your host, Noelle Van, an author, leadership coach, and change strategist who spent years in corporate America helping innovators and leaders break through barriers to create success on their own terms. I now work with women to step into change to create a life they love. Whether you're putting yourself at the center of your own story, redefining success, or making a power pivot in your life, career, or business, you're in the right place. Each week, we dive into conversations with trailblazers, change makers, and everyday women experiencing the ripple effects that come from overcoming the fear and doing it anyway, providing actionable steps, practical strategies, and a whole lot of fun along the way. So if you're ready to step up and become unstoppable, buckle up and let's get started. Today, we're diving into one of the biggest, scariest, but most liberating decisions you can make, taking the ultimate power pivot, knowing when it's time to leave your corporate job. Now, I realize this is not the path for everyone, but if this is something you've been contemplating, this episode is for you. Whether you're restless, burned out, or simply ready for something new, this episode will help you spot the signs, shift your mindset, and prepare for what's next. So to start us off, I want to share a bit of recent history with you. A few years ago, I had what most would call the perfect corporate job. I was working for Apple, had great benefits, consistent paychecks, amazing bonuses, and smart and interesting people to work with. Everything looked great on paper. But underneath it all, I felt like I was stuck in a never-ending, mind-numbing meeting. Smiling, nodding, but slowly dying inside. It hit me one day during one of my countless email stare-downs, looking blankly at my computer screen. I had this sudden and terrifying thought. Is this all there is? It's crazy because I now realize how much that simple question forced me to actually look at my life more clearly and think about what would happen if I continued to stay. My resolve to stay in something I knew wasn't making me happy was finally dissolving away the fear, and I was seeing my situation so clearly for what it was. And it was then in that very moment I knew I had to get honest with myself. I knew it was time for me to say yes to change, to stepping away from the discomfort and into the unknown for the sake of my own sanity. I overcame the urge I'd felt so many times before to back out and began to chart my course. And everything unraveled in the best possible way. Not overnight, not neatly, but that one yes cracked something wide open. I was finally ready to put myself first and began to dream of a better way to do this thing called work, where I could stop hiding behind my title, step out on my own, and be of service in a whole new way. Now, that was 4 years ago, and my journey has been full of ups and downs, along with a ton of unexpected opportunities to challenge myself and find my own strength, testing my will and pushing me to look at all the limiting beliefs I was holding on to about how smart, capable, or worthy I was of creating a bigger life for myself. What began with sheer terror has turned into an unbelievably rich experience that continues to unfold in front of me. Now, I tell you this story for only one reason, because this could be you. If you're feeling stuck or unseen, uninspired, or undervalued, you may be considering taking this leap. And let me be very clear, no one can tell you when or if it's your time to do this. But I can tell you, once you make up your mind that for you, stepping into a world beyond corporate feels right, there is a ton of support out there for you, and all it takes is a simple decision and a plan to make it happen. So with that said, I'd like to walk through some of the signs you may be experiencing, the mindset shifts needed to step into it, along with the best ways to prepare yourself for a move to ensure your success. Now let's start with the signs you may be experiencing that it could be time to leave. The first is loss of energy and passion. Now, if Sunday nights feel like dread, or even the projects you once loved feel like a grind, pay attention to that. As an example, one of my clients used to love leading global marketing campaigns, but when she found herself procrastinating and avoiding meetings, she was feeling more alive working on her Etsy shop at night than she ever did at work. So she knew it was time. Now, the next is values misalignment, right? Maybe you sit in meetings thinking, I don't even believe in this product anymore. If your company is focused on profits at all costs, but you're valuing impact and sustainability, the dissonance will wear you down. Now, the next is finding there is no room to grow. So sometimes you've simply hit the ceiling. In many cases, you've outgrown your role. Maybe you've stopped learning or you're feeling undervalued or overlooked for opportunities. All of these are signs you may find greater success stepping into something new, whether it's somewhere else or outside of corporate altogether. Then there's always that physical and emotional toll that we can all feel very, very heavily in our bodies. And stress shows up in the form of migraines, insomnia, constant irritability. That's not normal. That's your system telling you this environment is costing you too much. And now, last is the whisper of more. If you're dreaming about starting a business, mentoring others, or shifting industries, and you keep pushing it away as unrealistic, that whisper won't stop. It's your intuition reminding you you're capable of so much more. Now, the key is if staying feels like you're shrinking, it may be time to start planning your exit. And if that's the case, let's look at the mindset shifts needed to successfully make your move. Now, I say this as fair warning. When we leave a situation that provides us with a sense of security, all kinds of stuff is going to show up to test you. Your mindset needs to shift from a feeling of security to a sense of possibility. Corporate often teaches us to cling to stability, and the shift is to see opportunity as a form of security too. Building something new for yourself can become very safe once you move into it. It's simply a matter of trusting the outcome and overcoming the urge to hold back due to the fear of the unknown. So you may also feel an identity loss, a shift from identity as title to identity as self. And what I mean by that is the truth is you're not your job title, right? We all know that. Your skills, passions, and presence extend far beyond any org chart. So once you step out of that construct, you can begin to realize that there's so much more to you than a role you play within an organization. Now, next is shifting from fear of failure to excitement for learning. Leaving isn't about guaranteeing immediate success. It's about building a path that's truly yours. The energy and freedom you find once you make a decision, you know when your heart is right, are bound to propel you forward. And last is going from waiting for permission to claiming your power. This is such a huge one, right? You don't need HR's blessing or your boss's approval to create your next chapter. This is your personal decision, and only you know when you're ready. Now, they may seem difficult, but the more you practice these mindset shifts now, the smoother your transition is going to be. Now, let's talk a little bit about the ways to prepare for a departure. The first and probably number one thing is to create a financial runway. Now, this will look different for everyone, but it's often said to have at least 3 to 6 months of living expenses to create breathing room for yourself before you take the leap. That's a pretty conservative approach. And like I said, everyone is different. But you want to be able to concentrate on your next steps once you're out, not worrying about paying your bills. So just keep that in mind when you start planning. The next is leveraging your experience. I tell this to my clients all the time. With this runway in mind, utilize the resources, network, and opportunities you have in your current role to build your foundation for creating something new. There are often networking opportunities right in front of your nose, and you don't really look at them when you're within the construct of corporate. But you don't want to be looking from the outside in and realizing missed opportunities once you leave. There are likely people and opportunities right in front of you that can serve you once you make the transition. So just be sure to keep that in mind. The next is finding clarity on what's next. You don't need all the answers, but sketch your next move, whether it's consulting, a new role, your own business, a pause, or early retirement. Each of these choices are best served with a plan. The next is expand your network. That's pretty easy to understand. Not so easy always to do, but easy to understand. You want to reach out to people doing what interests you. Conversations create options. And with the right support, you can create a 24/7 network that is promoting you along the way, if you really concentrate on doing that up front. The next is test and experiment. Start small, especially if you want to test the waters before you make the jump. Freelance, volunteer, or launch a side project while you're still employed. This gives you the wiggle room to figure out what you want to do and where you want to go. And then lastly, be sure you have the right support. Get a coach, mentor, or community to keep you grounded through the ups and downs. The transition out of 9 to 5 can be an adjustment and often a scary and unfamiliar territory. As with any change, it's ideal to have the emotional support as you step into something new. As we all know, preparation doesn't eliminate fear, but it gives you the confidence to act even with fear present. Leaving corporate isn't about quitting. It's about choosing. Choosing yourself, choosing what energizes you. If you're feeling unfulfilled, it's choosing a future that is in greater alignment with what you want out of your career and life. Because at the end of the day, they all blend together. Now, if you're feeling that nudge, don't ignore it, explore it. Because when you honor that inner voice, you step into the fullest expression of yourself. And that's when you are ready to make the most impact in the world. Now, as I continue to build a growing community of changemakers ready to step into more powerful versions of themselves, I am coaching more and more women interested in taking this leap out of corporate. So I'll be sharing more on this topic as we go. And if you're listening and thinking, that's me, please send me an email. I'd love to hear your story and invite you into the conversation. Also, feel free to share this episode with someone you know who might be on the edge of their own leap. I'm here to support you every step of the way. That's it for now. Until next time. Thanks for listening to the Journeys Through Change podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or really wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Be sure to follow us and leave a review if you enjoyed this episode so more women like you can find us and join in on the fun.